Okay, ready? Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, December 21st, 2020, 7 p.m. Obermark,
Aye.
Patke, Pettit,
Here.
Solentrap,
Here.
Wessels,
Here.
Hydrich,
Here.
Holtmeyer,
Here.
Scornia.
Here.
Please rise for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated December 7th, 2020? Obermark,
Aye.
Pettit,
Aye.
Solentrap,
Yes.
Wessels,
Aye.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Scornia.
Yes.
Having read the minutes, are there any comments or questions?
If not, I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Hydrich, seconded by Holtmeyer, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated December 7, 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda, collector's report summary, September 2020, investment report summary, September 2020, collector's report summary, October 2019 through September 20th, building permits, October 19th through September 2020, and building permits, certificates of occupancy disposal.
Okay, are there any questions regarding the items on the consent agenda?
Make motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Hydrich, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve those items. Thank you.
Mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments, police department reappointments.
Okay, we have two reappointments tonight for the police department.
Correct. We have Ben Juergens and Jason Gibson. Just a quick overview of the two. They've been with us for a few years now, both of them have. Ben is now a field training officer and recently was selected as to fill our role as an overlay officer, which also is code enforcement, so he'll be filling that role. And then SRO Gibson, he's assigned to Washington Middle School and is one of our DARE officers and was recently selected as our chaplain. He's an ordained minister, so our previous chaplain resigned, so that opening was available, and he was the best pick for that, obviously. So
Okay,
we
great.
recommend both of them. They're performing
Wasn't
admirably.
aware of that.
Yep.
Are there any comments or questions?
If not, I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Hydrich, seconded by Obermark, to approve the reappointments of Ben Juergens, police officer, and Jason Gibson, police officer. And these are for one-year term, as usual. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you.
Appointment of city clerk.
Okay.
No one was looking.
Also in your packet this evening is a letter submitting for your approval the appointment of Sherry Claycamp as our city clerk. And this would be effective December 21, which is today, I guess. Anyway, she has served as a deputy city clerk since 2017, and we all think that she would be an asset to our city as our full-time clerk. So any comments or questions?
I make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Pettit, to approve the appointment of Sherry Claycamp as our city clerk. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the appointment. Congratulations.
I'm very excited. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, public hearings, rezoning 1208 East 3rd Street from R1B Single Family Residential to R2 Two Family Residential. This request has been withdrawn by the applicant.
That's correct. We had already noticed it in the paper, so we had to keep it on the agenda, but they did withdraw it.
So do we need to make a motion or anything, or it's just listed as
Just need a
withdrawn?
motion to accept it into the minutes.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Hydrid, seconded by Scornia?
Scornia.
By Scornia, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
Rezoning 1888 East 9th Street from M2 Heavy Industrial to R3 Multifamily.
It's the first one. There you go, John. All right, thank you. Yes, so on your agenda tonight is a request to rezone this parcel just west of the International and 9th Street intersection. It is 1888 East 9th Street. This is the piece just west of the daycare that I'm sure everyone was familiar with, and then there's some duplexes just to the west, an industrial building to the north, and then there's actually some new multifamily right across the street as well that we just approved last year, if you remember that. Here is the zoning. So the subject property is still zoned M2 heavy industrial, as is the daycare and some properties in the area. That was from when this area was predominantly industrial, and you can see some development has kind of gone mixed. There's, the mobile home park, two family, single family, and then just last year in the blue, right at the intersection, there was a request to rezone that piece to multifamily, which obviously was approved and is under construction currently. The request tonight is to rezone this piece to also R3 multifamily. If you saw in the packet, though, there was also a letter from the applicant explaining that they are wishing to use the property as a senior, or basically retirement home. So our code allows that as a permitted use in R3 or as a special use in R2. So actually, under staff's recommendation, we recommend to the applicant to just request the R3 in this location because there's a mix of uses. There's precedent for an existing R3 rezoning, and that way they do not need a special use retirement home that they plan to build. The other alternative was to rezone to R2, which is what's over here, but then they'd also have to apply for a special use. So we thought, why require two applications if it's not needed? And that's why the request is for R3, even though the use will not be a traditional multifamily. This did go to planning and zoning last week, and they voted unanimously to approve it.
Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Sal, is there any issue at all there with floodplain?
So it is in the floodway. Some of it's in the floodway, some of it, the entire thing's in the floodplain. They will have to either get a letter of map amendment or a floodplain development permit to bring it out of there. That's all done during the building permit process. The daycare had to do that, I believe, like in 2015. So before they get any building permit, they will have to show that there's not going to be detriment to downstream properties.
Anyone else? Okay, this is a public hearing, so is there anyone here who would like to address the council on this item? Okay. All right. So then I guess we just need a motion to accept this into the minutes.
Make a
Make a
motion.
motion, we accept it into the minutes?
Okay. Need a second? Okay, we have a motion by Scornia, seconded by Obermark to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
An ordinance rezoning the property at 1888 East 9th Street from M2 Heavy Industrial to R3 Multifamily Zoning District in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Scornia.
Introduced by Councilman Scornia. This is the ordinance that follows the previous item. Are there any questions or comments? Okay.
An ordinance rezoning the property at 1888 East 9th Street from M2 Heavy Industrial to R3 Multifamily Zoning District in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Hydrich,
Aye.
Scornia,
Yes.
Obermark,
Aye.
Pettit. Aye. Stolentrep. Yes. Wessels,
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Citizens' comments?
Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda?
Report of department heads, contractual mowing 2021.
Wayne?
Good evening, council. I'm here to talk about contractual mowing for the upcoming year. Recently, this past year, the department and several other departments in the city recently took on, some additional employees from another department. In October, November timeframe, we were set to receive our employees or have them transfer over. We received one of the two. The other one, I think, parted ways with the city. We went out to looking for another employee. We advertised. We didn't receive any qualified candidates. We only received 4 applications, and none of them were very qualified. With that said, I started looking outside the box with staff, and I slowly realized in order to take on the additional mowing, we were going to have to, and we budgeted for several pieces of equipment to do this, including a zero-turn mower and an enclosed trailer to take on the additional mowing route across town. We were going to have to buy additional equipment. We were going to try to hire an additional full-time staff member. So if you take those into account, that total comes to about $65,600 between the equipment, 2 pieces of equipment, and the full-time staff with benefits. I talked to the contractor that we were using, who did an exceptional job this past year. He said that he would guarantee our pricing that we had set up. It was a 3-year guarantee on pricing, and he would keep everything the same despite us cutting the contract significantly. So under this plan, Water and Streets would do their own mowing, and they took on additional staff members in order to do that. I believe some of them have purchased equipment already. We hadn't purchased anything, and we were 1 person short there. So having said that, talked to the contractor. We're able to, mow our 10 properties that we had on contract last year, plus fire departments, 4 properties for $48,250. And so if you do the math, 65.6 minus 48,250, that would save the city about $17,350, give or take. So I'm proposing to amend the budget by eliminating the hire of 1 full-time park staff member for this budget year, as well as the equipment for net savings of $17,350. And then we would reevaluate this process next year. Any questions?
Any questions?
Excuse me, Wayne, you wouldn't, I'm looking at this, and myself, I really wish we could go out and maybe we're having a hard time finding employees, and that could be part of the problem here too. But, with a trailer and a piece of equipment, you say you're saving $17,350, but if that trailer would be ours and that equipment would be ours,
Right.
and it'd be worth a lot more than $17,350 at the end of next season, wouldn't it, or would it not?
I mean,
It
yeah,
would,
I guess,
you'd have an expense that you're gonna go ahead and spend, and why not take advantage of contracted mowing that you can go ahead and get done at those rates? At least take the savings another year. I don't expect that zero-turn mowers and enclosed trailers are gonna cost that much more than what he's got offered under the budget this year. So we can reevaluate it again next year.
What I'm saying is, though, Darren, is you're going to have equipment. You're not going to have squat when you hire a contractor. You're going to have, if you get an employee, you're still going to have the equipment left over. I know you have extra monies there, but you're still going to have equipment to use. You're still going to have a trailer that we could use throughout the department, through other departments. Just my thoughts.
yeah, I can see it that way. I just, going into this, with all the park properties that we currently mow that weren't under contract, and then to add these to it, if we have another rainy season like we had this year, I think things could hit the fan very easily. We took a lot of, my department took some criticism because everyone was out in the parks this past year looking at everything under a magnifying glass, which is great that they were out in the parks looking at everything and trying to get exercise and things like that. But if we have another rainy season, we had a hard time just keeping up on the grass that we had just ourselves, not under contract this year. I think maybe with 2 more guys, we'd be able to do it and do it maybe at a high level, but I think other things may suffer. We had a hard time this past year doing the grass and all the other things that we do, but also trying to run baseball tournaments for out-of-town teams that were coming in from St. Louis and things like that. So I'm not saying we couldn't do it. I think it could get tricky. And so we were just kind of looking outside the box here for a little help.
Wayne, did you say that the contractor, they're gonna we can do it one more year and then reevaluate, or is it because I think you said originally it was 3 years, is that
The
correct?
pricing was good for 3 years.
Okay.
I thought he might try to, since we cut the contract quite a bit, reduced it down, I thought he might try to raise some of the pricing, but he didn't.
Which leads to reevaluating it again next year.
Yeah, that's
He
what I was
gonna-
wondering.
If
It's
he was
just an
gonna
extra
raise his
year.
rates this year, I would say that's a whole different story. But the idea was that he was gonna keep those rates, and so we just felt it was significant to go ahead and take advantage of a contract.
He was significantly less than the previous contractor by quite a bit when we did this bid this past year. And I can tell you, we had significantly less issues, and the customer service was really good, so,
I use the same contractor for the cemetery, and he's
yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah.
And again, I have nothing against Clay Camp. I have nothing against. It was just, I'm looking at we'd still have equipment,
Of course.
after.
Any other questions? Okay, I guess we should accept this into the minutes. Was there anything else that you needed from us, Wayne, other than?
No, I think that's it.
There will be a budget amendment
Oh,
that we're
yes.
going to have prepared at the meeting in January. I think it was going to be the first meeting in January, so we will be bringing that back, and then you can vote on it at that time with regards to this change.
Okay, so right now, we just want to probably accept it into the
Accept it
minutes.
I make a motion separate in the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holdmeyer, second by Pettit, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? By your vote, you pass the ordinance.
Thank you.
Accepted the minutes. Thank you.
Ordinances and resolutions. An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a dispatching services agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and the City of Berger, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holdmeyer.
Good evening, council. So in your packet tonight, you have the contract for dispatching between the City of Washington and the City of Berger to provide dispatching services for the Berger Police Department. The contract would go into effect on January 1st and would be for 1 year, just like we did with the New Haven Police Department. And then we can renegotiate at that time if we need to.
Sounds good.
Any questions about the contract?
Questions or comments?
Lisa, we remind us, you said it last time, how many calls did you anticipate?
Last year, according to the report that I received, he had 68 calls. Now, he is a part-time police officer. Berger is still patrolled also by the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. So he is a part-time, and he kind of makes his own hours and so forth. So last year, he had 68 calls.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing directing the execution of a dispatching services agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, and the City of Berger, Missouri. Hydrich?
What did you say?
It's you.
Did you call me?
You.
Aye. I couldn't hear you.
Scornia?
Yes.
Overmark.
Aye.
Pettit.
Aye.
Solondra. Wessels.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to accept the proposal from Questica LTD for budgeting and budget book software and to amend the 2021 budget.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtzmeyer.
Good evening, council, and Merry Early Christmas. Get my stuff together here. I'm going to go ahead and pass out. I have handouts for what our budget book looks like, and then examples of what the new budget book software looks like. So I'll start one on either side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for about the last 2 years, I've been researching budget book software. It started actually at an MML conference, and that's kind of where I got interested. For those of you who, well, probably most of you don't really understand how much work goes into our budget book. This is it, all 200 and something pages of it. But it's very cumbersome to put this together, and we go out for the budget award, Distinguished Budget Award every year. And we compile it from Excel, Word, PDF documents, and we have 2 or 3 staff that work on this throughout the year. But it's very cumbersome, and then when you put all that document together, and then you have to print it out, and then you have to scan it, every time you do that, it degrades that quality, I guess you can say. And so by buying this budget book software, it will all be in one software. And so, like, for an example, if I were to enter the assessed valuation, and maybe that's put in the document in 5 different places, I don't have to go in and key that in 5 different places. I put it in one spot, and it'll put it into those 5 different places. So it's really, really interesting software. But, and I apologize, I have allergies, so. And in doing so, you can make a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. And then when the Government Finance Officer Association, when they grade you on this budget document, they'll go through and say, well, this number doesn't agree to that number, et cetera. So it's really nice when all of that can be into one software. And I'm glad that one company, or Questica, is a company that has been around for about 20 years. And they have not only budget book software, but in researching all this, I discovered that they have a budgeting module that, along the same lines, that behind the scenes with the budget document that we do, I have about 25 different spreadsheets that I do that takes from the department heads all the way through the process to what you guys see in this budget book here. And so by the time I key things into one spot and then go all the way through, it can have errors and different things. So the budgeting software itself, you would key it into one spot, the department heads would, and then from there, it stays in that one software, so it eliminates all of those Excel spreadsheets, basically. And the part of the software that we don't currently have is revenue forecasting and trending. So, for example, if Darren said to me, Mary, what happens if sales tax goes up or down? I can do that because that's pretty easy. That's one line item. But let's say he wants all revenues to go up or down. I have to go in and I have to hand key in one spreadsheet and calculate all those numbers. Where with this software, I wouldn't have to do that. I can just say, take this group of numbers, change that, and same thing on the expense side. Or I can say, just for this object or this one type of subset, change this by this percentage, and it does it for me. I don't have to hand key in every number. So anyway,
Will that
it's
help?
really cool.
Will that help with our auditing too?
Well, not so much on the auditing side.
Just ask the question.
Yeah, no, it's it's two totally different things. Audit works on your actual financial numbers, which is generated from our Tyler software, which this works with our Tyler software. So we can import into our Tyler software, but it's two different things.
So everything would be in one box, basically.
Yes, yes. And what it's basically going to do, it's going to save a lot of staff time. So it's not like cash flow where I'm going to say you're going to save a lot of, not going to save cash, but you're going to save a lot of staff time, which is important for my department. The cost for the software and the first year, Questica is giving us a 45% discount the first year. So if we went with both the budgeting and the budgeting book software, both modules would cost $24,750. I had $9,000 budgeted in the 2021 budget for the budget book software. So I would be requesting a budget amendment at this time for the $16,000 for the difference. Just very conservatively, I went through and added my time and Marcy's time in my department, and she works on the budget book. And very conservatively, I said that we estimated about 300 hours of savings, which ends up being about $15,000. So that's what it's costing to put the budget, between budget and budget book, together per year. So that's quite a few hours, 300 hours, and that's very conservative. I think I actually put quite a bit more time in than what I estimated for myself. So I know it seems like it's quite a bit of money, but I really think this will also help with, one thing I didn't mention was position control, which we don't really have right now. This will help Shauna and HR, from the HR side. If Darren wants to change one or two positions, and I can do that overall. If he says, hey, I give everybody a 1% raise, I have a spreadsheet that I can say, okay, what's it take, and key it in and say 1% across the board. I can do that. But this would give position control, so I can say, okay, give Mary Sprung a 40% raise. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I can say that, and then what's the effect of giving this person this or this person that, and it's very position control. And then also, it would also help with vacancies. If there's a position that we want to say, okay, this person's going to be vacant this year, we don't lose track of that position over time, which has happened in the past, because over time we don't fill that position, then all of a sudden it gets dropped out of the budget and we don't know to put it back in, because we don't know that another department needs that position, and then we forget to budget it. So this way, it would also help with that. So does anybody have any questions that I can help
Mary,
answer?
do you anticipate using this for '22? And if so, that first year discount, I assume, will be gone,
No, it is for this coming year.
right? Do you anticipate using it for the next year?
Yes.
After that?
Yes, Bill, okay, so the way they have it structured is, in this 24,750, there's a one-time setup fee. That would drop off, so basically our cost every year is going to be around that 25,000. So they're giving a first-time discount, which is basically, I think it's 19,500. But there's a first-time fee that's built into that. So we're paying that this year, but then next year we won't have that, but the 19,500 will kick back in next year, because they're just waiving that first-year fee. So basically, our cost is going to be about the same every year from there going forward.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington to accept the proposal from Questica LTD for budgeting and budget book software, and to amend the 2021 budget. Hydrich,
Aye.
Scornia,
Yes.
Overmark,
Aye.
Pettit,
Aye.
Selentrop, Wessels,
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 335, Schedule 2, of the Washington City Code by adding provisions for a stop sign at the location described below.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Good evening, Council. The location described below is Main and Market Street. The Traffic Committee was identified that when the apartments, the duplexes or condos that went up in Main and Market, that's zero lot line. When they were actually placed on the property line, which they can do, that there were some issues with vehicles as they come up the hill, potential sight distance issues. So we did utilize basically St. Charles County and St. Louis County sight distance calculations and did determine that at the speed limits coming up the hill that there could be some issues with that. So in the past, if you noticed around town, especially in the downtown area where there is zero lot line, there are stop signs, four-way stop signs. Market currently does not exist as a stop. Main does. So what this does, we had some discussions. What this does is would make Market a stop and make it a four-way at that intersection.
Okay, any questions or comments? That intersection has really changed with all the buildings.
It has, and there will also be some buildings added actually to the south as well, up the hill, if you would. We also see an increase in pedestrian traffic through the area with new ADA ramps, those type of things, and we're going to continue to improve those. So, I mean, I would anticipate that, this need would be coming anyway.
An ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 335, Schedule 2 of the Washington City Code by adding provisions for a stop sign at the location described below. Heydrich?
Aye.
Scornia?
Yes.
Obermark?
Aye.
Pettit?
Aye.
Suellentrep?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance repealing sections 705.010 through including section 705.100 of the Code of the City of Washington and sections 705.690 through and including section 705.890 and acting in lieu of thereof section 705.010, 705.020, 705.030, 705.40, 705.50, 705.60, 705.70, 705.80, 705.90, 705.100, 705.690, 705.700, 705.710, 705.720, 705.730, 705.740, 705.750, 705.760, 705.770, 705.780, 705.790, 705.800, 705.810, 705.820, 705.830, 705.840, 705.850, 705.860, 705.870, 705.880, and 705.890 of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Sherry, you're welcome. This is a section of the sewer code. As you are aware, the treatment plant was operating under a letter of warning from the Department of Natural Resources due to some streamlining efforts that the Missouri Department of Natural Resources required us to adhere to. What does that mean, streamlining? Well, essentially, DNR is trying to get all the treatment plants to be operating underneath the same kind of umbrella code within the state of Missouri. Different treatment plants would operate under different rules and those type of things. So that does allow us to still set our local discharge limits from some of our industrial users. For example, we have a lot of metal manufacturing industries. We also have food manufacturing industries. So those operate under different rules and regulations that they can release into our treatment system so we can treat it at the treatment plant. This would essentially take all those code sections that were previous to and just replace them. We've been working with Cochran Engineering on putting together some of those calculations over the past year. We are now operating in compliance with DNR, so that's behind us. There was a 60-day comment period with DNR as well, public comment period. We did not receive any comments. We are working on issuing new industrial user permits. And we also improved our enforcement action plan that if an industry was to discharge something that was outside their permit, we now have some really strict guidelines that would require them to come back into compliance. That was also needed some upgrades. So essentially what this does is it gets us working in compliance again. We've sent this all out to the 7 significant industrial users that operate. They've reviewed it, and we've not had any comments back from them. So just asking that this is the last step in that process.
Anyone else? Okay, Sherry, you have to do it again.
Should just say ditto.
I know, right?
We're breaking you in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
An ordinance repealing section 70510 through and including section 705-100 of the Code of the City of Washington and section 705-690 through and including section 705-890 and acting in lieu thereof, section 0510, 70520, 70530, 70540, 70550, 70560, 70570, 70580, 70590, 705-100, 705-690, 705-700, 705-710, 705-720, 705-730, 705-740, 705-750, 705-760, 705-770, 705-780, 705-790, 705-800, 705-810, 705-820, 705-830, 705-840, 705-850, 705-860, 705-870, 705-880, and 705-890 of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Hydrich,
Aye.
Gornia,
Yes.
Obermark,
Yes.
Pettit,
Aye.
Solentrop, Wessels,
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Main Street Development, Plat 1 amended in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Oh, there you go. It's just some boundary adjustments.
See it okay? I'll zoom in a little bit so you won't-
So this is a fairly simple boundary adjustment, just an amendment to the plat that was approved earlier this year. So just for everyone's familiar, this is at the corner of Market and Main Street. This is the new townhomes that are about to break ground just south of the ones that are being completed. So just to the west here where my laser pointer's at, that is the new Sirens Hotel parking lot, just so you can kind of have your bearings. They are not really changing anything physically on the size or location of these buildings, but they're adding common ground to the rear here. So the parking agreement's still there, still has cross access and easements for all 3 units, but they wanted common ground to be split off, and so that way maintenance can be split up between all 3 and shared rather than having property boundaries go down to the end. So just an amendment to that original plat.
Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Does the same people own the old school up there too as this?
Yeah, Understall Construction is doing both projects.
But future owners would be these lot owners.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, those are individually owned once they
Is that an alley, Sal? Like, is it rear access or no?
No, so it does have cross-access easements just for parking purposes, but the buildings were not large enough to require a fire lane to the rear.
Okay.
So it is still private.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Main Street Development Plat 1 amended in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Hydrich,
Aye.
Gornia,
Yes.
Overmark,
Aye.
Pettit,
Aye.
Solentrop, Wessels,
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a cooperative agreement for road maintenance for a section of Pottery Road.
Omar.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
This is an agreement that we asked Mark to go ahead and reach out to the Special Road District to go ahead and join. This would basically have us take over maintenance of Pottery Road from 100 south to Meadow Lake Drive. We do have plans to go ahead and put in a water connection for Meadow Lake subdivision to serve them. John, if you want.
Yeah, this came up when we were reviewing to get water out to Meadow Lake Farms. Obviously, we were looking for the water line sleeve that did not exist underneath Highway 100. That sleeve showed up on plans from the 60s, 70s, actually even from the early 2000s. We actually used ground penetrating radar to try to find it. It did not exist, so we had to bore underneath the highway. That was an unexpected cost of $53,000 to the project. That has been bored. We are waiting on getting the water line pushed underneath there yet with a pipe welder, but the main bulk of that work has been done. So in doing so, we were walking the property within the subdivision, how you get from point A to point B, Pottery, into Meadow Lake Farms, and looking for different cost-saving measures that we could implement to try to make up some of those dollars that was due to the boring. In doing so, we would just walk back. I had locates called in on Potter Road, found an area inside the curb edge that we think we could slip a water line into. Pretty confident we can. It was in the pavement. Unfortunately, they did pave the road late summer. So the idea would be is the first like 12 to 18 inches inside the curb line would just have a utility cut. I doubt you would even see it because the white stripe is there. And in doing so, we felt that even we're going to be doing snowplow operations out to Meadow Lake Farms. It just makes sense to drop a snowplow, take care of those things, and then we're actually getting a brand new road. We're not getting, some used piece of pavement. So we just thought now was the time to do it. So we would take over snowplowing operations, future paving operations, those type of things on that section from Meadow Lake Drive to 100.
Any questions or comments?
And that water line savings is approximately $50,000, so it's about a break even. So.
Well, and you'll be going out that way anyway to snowplow.
Yeah, we have to go that way anyway. We had to before, even on old Pottery Road. There's just a little substreet there. So we're headed that way anyway. It just kind of makes sense to take care of it.
They're going to do that next year?
A water line?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get it done here wintertime yet. We're waiting. The pipe welder was, last I checked, was down in Louisiana. It's HDP pipe welding, which means you have no joints basically. And they were down in Louisiana. I was going to check with Kevin today, but I forgot to ask him, to be honest, where they were at. So we're hoping here first part of January. The residents of Meadow Lake haven't seen a change in their water. It's the water they've always had. They're just paying city rates because we're getting a bulk fee from the water district. So really, nothing's really changed for them.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a cooperative agreement for road maintenance for a section of Pottery Road. Hydrich.
Aye.
Scornia.
Yes.
Overmark.
Aye.
Pettit.
Aye.
Solentrop. Wessels.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into an agreement between Omnigo Software LLC, St. Louis, and the City of Washington, Missouri for a new contract for an unlimited license program.
Omar.
Okay, so I'm here tonight representing both police and fire. And Jim, please speak up if you need to.
Okay.
What the contract does, we've had a contract with Omnigo, and they are our CAD provider. They provide us with all the different interfaces for law enforcement, even the interface to Firehouse Software at this time, and then next year, their new software company. So when the three of us were meeting, we discovered that the fire department in 2021, they'd like to move to MDTs, mobile data terminals. And then in order to get the EOC completely set up at fire headquarters, we actually need 2 additional CAD licenses to put CAD systems up at the firehouse. The police department has already been working on getting 3 additional MDTs. They have the hardware in place, but you have to have a license for every piece of equipment. So with what the fire department needed to do, what I needed to do, and what they needed to do, Omnigo actually offers an unlimited contract or an unlimited license contract. Right now, we are limited to the number that we have, so you have to pay per everything you add. By going to unlimited, which that contract was paid in October, I think it runs from November 1st through October 31st, according to the paper. And by switching to unlimited, getting everything that we need, they need, and the fire department, we can switch to an unlimited contract at this time for a little over $12,000 instead of each individual unit. And it will actually save the police department, I think it's about $5,200 per year. What this contract will also do, Omnigo, it will lock them into a 3-year contract. Right now, every year, they're receiving a percentage increase to that contract, and I believe that's about 6%. Is that correct?
2% annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's over 3 years, 6%.
Okay, so over 3 years, 6%. But this will lock them in so that there are no more increases. The other thing that it does is that it grandfathers us in, and so even, I should have told you that, Omnigo was looking about doing away with their unlimited program. So they are offering it to us, so we would be grandfathered in, and that way, if we ever need to add anything in the future, we don't have to pay for those additional license fees and so forth. If they do away with their unlimited program, we still will be able to receive that for the lifetime of our doing business with Omnigo. So the fire department right now, they're going to cover the overage of the $12,000, whatever it is, the cost between our current contract and to get the unlimited. So the fire department's going to cover those costs. And then the new contract would go into effect then November 1st of 2021.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Doesn't look like it.
Good job.
Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to enter into an agreement between Omnigo Software, LLC, St. Louis, and the City of Washington, Missouri for a new contract for an unlimited license program. Hydrich.
Aye.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Pettit.
Aye.
Holentrep. Wessels.
Aye.
Altmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Commission, committee, and board reports. An ordinance approving the final plat of Cricket Creek Estates, Plat 7 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmar.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
All right, this is a request for a minor subdivision, just a 2-lot subdivision at the intersection of Steuben Road and Clark Drive here. So this is the type of Steuben Road. This is just east of the intersection of Highway A and Studerman. So this is an existing lot. It's technically lot 79 of the Cricket Creek Estates, and it is over an acre in size. So it's a little bit larger than, I'm sorry, it's not quite an acre. It's over 22,000 square feet because we're requesting to split it in half. So you can see here the entire area is zoned R1A single-family residential, which requires a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet. They're requesting to split this directly down the middle, and it is pretty straightforward. In their proposal, they have the 60-foot right-of-way width required for R1A. They have the lot sizes over 10,000 square feet, so there's no issues there. It meets all of our zoning requirements. The only thing I want to point out is that there is a buffer yard. If you see this dotted line, this was originally put in, it says 20-foot buffer, and I'm really just making some assumptions here, but I'm assuming that was placed because this original house is the original farmhouse when Cricket Creek was first developed in 2001. We did pull the minutes from Planning and Zoning and Council from those approvals, and there was no mention of that being a requirement of the subdivision. We couldn't find it in any of the future plats, and we pulled the one from 2001 and it showed it on there, so it wasn't added later. And again, this is just an assumption of mine. I'm wondering if at that time that developer just added a buffer on their own to the existing farmhouse to give them a little more room. Now, that is above and beyond anything required in our zoning code. This is single family next to single family. It's the same zoning, same 10,000 square foot lots. So they still have to meet all of our site plan requirements, setbacks and everything. So the request to vacate that buffer yard, we recommend approval of that. It went to planning and zoning last week and unanimously they approved to have that removed as well. So the request would actually be to subdivide this and then vacate that dotted line there. And that way they could have 2 buildable lots.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, why isn't this a 70-foot wide minimum lot width?
It's 60. 60 foot is our minimum.
I thought it used to be 70.
60 foot.
750 square feet in some sections.
Yeah, it's 10,000 square feet and minimum width of 60.
Anyone else?
And it's 50 in the smaller ones. It does go up to 60 in the R1A. Otherwise, it's normally 50.
All right. Anyone else? Okay.
An ordinance
Thank you,
approving
Sal.
the final plat of Cricket Creek Estates, Plat 7 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Hydrich,
Aye.
Scornia,
Yes.
Overmark,
Aye.
Pettit,
Aye.
Stolentrep,
Abstain.
Wessels,
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Henry Heinings, Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Somebody want to introduce that?
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
John, would you mind switching that over? Sorry.
Do 'em all.
Sorry, Sal. You're all good. Sorry. All right. This is a very similar request, only it's even a little bit simpler. This is an existing lot at the just west of the intersection of Burnside and 7th Street. See here, there is an existing home here on 7th Street. And you can kind of see highlighted here, it is a large lot compared to the homes on the rest of the block. It must have been combined at some point. Looking back at our plat, it looks like it was done way before we were keeping records in our basement. But it is zoned R1B, single-family residential, which has the minimum square footage of 6,000 square feet. And so they do have the room there to subdivide that right down the middle and kind of match those other sized homes you see on this block and across the street on 7th Street. So the plat here is proposing a 10R and 11R, and they do meet the 6 foot. They actually have 9 feet and 10 feet respectively on this new setback shown here. And the only thing I do have a note on, they'll have to change this before they get this recorded. If you see it, it says 14,000 square feet on each lot. Technically, the entire lot is 14,000 square feet, and they're cutting it and splitting that down in the middle. So that's just a typo on the plat that we made a note in our staff report. They will have to fix that before it gets taken to the county. So.
Any questions or comments? Okay.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Henry Heinings, Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Hydrich,
Aye.
Scornia,
Yes.
Overmark,
Aye.
Pettit,
Aye.
Stolentrep, Wessels,
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
Okay, you may have seen, there was, I think, a little bit in the newspaper about all of the cities writing a letter together to our county commission regarding the CARES Act reimbursement for the hazard pay, not really that, it's not what it's called, but for the leave that was taken. And we had debated that a little bit. And so the mayor of Union has put together a letter. James Schmieder of Union, the assistant city administrator, had called to see if maybe we would want to put our name on here as well.
Correct.
And so they have contacted Mayor of Pacific, New Haven, St. Clair, Berger, Gerald, Sullivan, Union, and of course us. And Darren and I talked about it a little bit. We felt like we've already discussed this before, that we felt that was a valid expenditure. And so we are adding our name to this list. But we wanted to bring it forward to you all and just let you know that we were going to do that. I'm not sure what will happen, but at least we'll have something in writing as a group from the county. So, I don't know if you have any questions, or did you have anything to
The only
add?
thing I would share, just so the council realizes that as of 12/17 last week, the amount that we have had to go ahead and pay out as a result of COVID sick time was $36,912. So it is a significant amount of money for us with regards to it that obviously we did not budget. Nobody came into this budget year thinking, oh, we might have a pandemic, let's go ahead and add on 80 hours per employee. And this is just the hours that were used. That's not, obviously, those are just the hours that we had to report, and thanks to Shauna, she was able to go ahead and get this for me last week, so you have some kind of idea of the dollar amount.
Mayor, I noticed in the article, Mayor, that one of the other cities, the city council is chiming in, I guess you'd say,
Yes.
with that mayor.
Mhm.
And if you and Darren feel it would be helpful, I think we should also. I think, you're making a good point. We had an expense we didn't know about.
Right, and I
So-
think that would be great if the city council would want to support this effort or whatever. I think that would be really good, so that it's not just a couple of people making a decision or whatever. I mean, we've talked about this before, but we've never really taken any action on it and stuff like that. Did we have something that we're getting ready to submit, aren't we? Or have we submitted that?
We still have till the December 31st to go ahead and submit anything remaining that we have.
Right.
And so this would certainly be one of those items. But we may have some additional items, I think, that Sal may have to submit before the end of the year, unless you've got anything, unless you've got the last one. Mark, you've got?
Just a correction, it's December 30th.
30th. If I said 31st, I apologize. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, not New Year's Eve. Ah,
Why don't you come up to the mic then, just.
We turned everything else that we had in last week, and Sherry sent out a report, or an email to all department heads saying, if you have anything else, you have to have it in. I think we asked them by tomorrow or 23rd or something, so that we could do one last thing, and we have not received anything. So as of right now, we have everything in. We just submitted a request for I want to say it was like 150,000.
150.
It was a pretty big one, so.
Is that our biggest one?
You did? Okay. So we did get more. So.
That would be the largest.
That's our largest request.
Yeah, because
right?
118 of that was for the pool.
Mhm.
I did see something in the news today, and I don't know how accurate it is, about the CARES, the proposal that's going around the Congress now, that they are looking at extending that. It's supposed to be extended through the end of next year, but I haven't seen anything definitive on that.
That would be
That's
helpful, I'm sure.
the latest I heard.
With the money that's already there, or are they going to be adding additional funds?
What's there, you would be, the county, state, whoever would be able to spend that through December of '21.
There was another article in the Missourian about the county's budgeting process for next year, and their new budget manager was talking about returning 5-something million to the state. She had that as an outgoing amount of money of the CARES funds again. And that's what we talked about last time. I mean, they were appropriated for a reason. I see no point in sending it back when we have needs that could be used,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's not quite half of the original amount that was sent this way. So do you want, I mean, if you'd like to make a
Whatever you need. Do you
motion
need
and-
that in the form of a motion? I'll so move that you include the council's approval to your joining in on that letter.
Okay.
Second.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Wessels and seconded by Pettit. I believe I heard you, Gretchen, did I?
Correct.
Seconded by Pettit, to approve the city signing on with this letter and requesting the CARES fund.
Also let them know the council felt the same way.
Yes.
Right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve that motion. Thank you. In closing, I just want to say, this is our last meeting of the year, and certainly it was a year that we'll all remember. But I want to thank all of you as council members for your dedication and for serving our community in the capacity that you do. It's probably been one of our most interesting ones. I don't think we have anything to compare to, but it's at times like this where we really need to be dedicated and committed to our community, and I believe that all of you have been that way this year throughout, just from your actions and your support throughout the year. So I appreciate that very much. Also appreciate our department heads and our entire staff who have gone the distance this year and made accommodations when needed to, and it's been, I don't know how many times you can say it's been quite the year, but anyway, I think that we've all learned a lot, and it's just been, I'm waiting for this year to be over, and hopefully I think with the vaccination on the horizon next year, we could see a big improvement. The good news is that in spite of all this,
Thank you.
we are very busy at City Hall, very busy all around the city of Washington. So we have a lot of irons in the fire. We were commenting just the other day that, I guess I was commenting mostly, that usually about this time of year, nothing goes on up here. And this year, there's all kinds of things going on up here. So anyway, and we've lots of projects for next year that we're working on and things like that, things that we need to finish out or things that we're looking at. So everybody's being very, very aggressive and continuing to move forward, which is good. So anyway, so thank you all for serving. Thank you, staff. And we'll ring in the new year at our next meeting, I guess. So anyway, so thank you.
City Administrator's report?
I do have an item to go ahead and discuss, or at least bring up to you tonight and in the next couple of meetings. As you'll remember, when we were putting together our budget for the year 2021, we were hesitant to go ahead and include a significant sales tax increase with regards to the budget as far as the revenue side. At that time, I think we had advised you that we would take a look at it after the first quarter of the new fiscal year and see where we stood. The good news is that we are doing well so far with sales tax, as we were cautiously optimistic, and we had reason to be, apparently, because the numbers have come in, and I've just sat down with the mayor and finance director, and we discussed the possibility then of amending the budget in January to accommodate for an increase in that sales tax, and that those funds would be used towards up to a 2% merit increase for the employees. As you'll remember, when we approved the budget back in October, or prior to October, we just had a 1% cost of living increase for all the employees. We did not include a merit because of the fact that we did want to watch and see what the sales tax did. So after receiving the first 3 months and seeing positive signs, we are going to be requesting a 2% increase in the budget on the revenue side for that to be utilized for a merit increase. Again, those would be up to 2%. That doesn't mean automatically that all employees get 2%. It's all based upon the performance evaluations that are done by their supervisors earlier in this process. So we will be bringing that to you at the workshop in January, and then hope to have an ordinance at that time. And then if it is successful, we would go ahead then and implement that at the second pay period in January.
And we will be using those merit, the reviews the performance evaluations that have already been completed. So.
Correct. That determines what percentage of an increase they receive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's all I had.
Any questions, comments? Okay.
Council comments?
I hope everyone saw the star that led the three wise, as I was coming in. I mean, it led all of you wise people here, so it must work, you know. It's very bright, and you can't miss it.
Okay,
I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
thank you.
Did you want to, Mark, you want to give an update? Oh, really? Yeah, council, if I could, I just wanted to remind everyone that the city ordinance on masking is still in effect. The county order was expired as of, I believe, noon yesterday, but the city one is still in effect. We have 3 weeks now of 2 out of the 3 metrics that we measure being in the orange. And we determined that after 4 consecutive weeks, that the mask ordinance could be lifted. So if the trending continues, and from the graphs I sent you Friday, if you looked at those, we're residing right now on the bottom side of the trend line for a long time. You know, it hasn't happened in a while. So things are improving. You know, the 2 impacts to the community, which are, you know, probably most important, are deaths are down and hospitalizations are down. You know, I don't want to be a spokesman for Mercy, but I think Mr. Eloff would be okay in informing you that, you know, like on today's report, the county number is showing 22. As of 7 a.m. this morning, the hospital would have 29 COVID residents. So, you know, there are some folks there who are out of Franklin County who are, you know, not shown in that number, just to let you know where we're at. But I think it's a credit to the citizenry, you know, that you know, they identified with the awareness, they identified with the cause, and, you know, the community effects are going down, which is a tribute to those folks, and we're getting very, very good compliance. We have had very few complaints, all in all, so we're getting good compliance.
All right, okay. Any questions of Mark?
I'm sorry?
I said any
Oh.
questions of Mark? Okay. All right, thank you.
City Attorney's report. Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Hydrich.
Aye.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Pettit.
Aye.
Hillentrop. Wessels.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Okay, executive session. All right, thank you all. Thank you for being here.
So I probably want to say-
Yeah, that's all we got.
So it's like, I guess.